Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to get in another ridiculous fight with your significant other? Neither are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sarah Humphrey. Sarah, how are you?
Ho, ho, ho. What a gift this episode is.
Yeah, big cliffhanger.
Big cliffhanger. I'm excited.
It was a pretty good episode. I felt like I think we're moving. We're moving and we're grooving now this season. We're here with the crux. We have the triangle is back in formation.
Yeah.
We have a shooting. We don't know who died.
Well, I don't think anyone's gonna die.
Or we don't know who got shot, I guess. We have Felicity's mom coming in and being like, Ben kind of sucks. He has no life plans. Maybe you should be with Noel instead, which is
ridiculous.
A choice for her to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, season 3, episode 11, and to all a good night. First of all, this is our first time recording since the holidays have happened. So first of all, we hope everyone had a nice, safe, and lovely holiday if you celebrated. Sarah, how was your vacation or vacation? You took a trip. How was your holiday?
It was good. It was very relaxing. It was very quiet. My brother and sister-in-law, they were not able to come, so it was just like a really small thing, but it was nice because like we just got to chill and relax. And you know how like a lot of people's holidays, you're just like running all over the place. Adam and I's gifts literally did not arrive in time, so they were like we were gone for a couple of days in the shared like family home type of thing, and it was our guests were like sitting on the porch for a couple of days, but they were there when we came back. So
that's excellent. No porch pirates.
No. So when we got back, we did our own little Christmas exchange, which was nice. And yeah, it was pretty chill. Like we had a family party with more people on Friday, and that's always fun. But yeah, I mean, not really that much to report. Happy to be back home. You all?
Good. I mean, we go to my family's house on Christmas. That was nice. We did like a nice chicken dinner my dad made, and we mostly just hung out and had a good time. It was a relaxing holiday, which is nice, not having to like, I know some people like have like 3 different houses they have to go to on the holiday or even just like Christmas Eve and Christmas. They have a lot going on. I'm very thankful that we have generally pretty low-key holidays around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy that I love Christmas, don't get me wrong, but the holiday season itself is pretty exhausting. So I'm happy to just hunker down now and push through the winter that is at our door. And yeah, I don't know. The winter is a great time to be like, I don't need to go anywhere or do anything. It's cold. It's bad weather. Like I'm just gonna sit home on my couch all day.
Yeah, it's a good excuse for you to do so.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's funny. We're talking season 3, episode 11, and to all a good night, a very Christmassy episode of Felicity. Couldn't come. Maybe last week would have been a better time, but like honestly, not bad timing for us in terms of covering this episode.
No. I mean, and sadly, I forget who reminded us. Maybe Jamie. It was such a bummer because we missed out on like a good Felicity Thanksgiving episode, which typically we get. So they opted for like a Christmas episode this year, which is fine, except that like nobody like randomly made out with somebody else in a closet, which like seems like a missed opportunity. But yeah, it was like a Christmas episode. I think that we kind of everybody had like their own little version of like a Christmassy type of storyline ish. I don't know, maybe I'm like shoehorning like Tracy's battle with like his religion with Christmas, but I don't know, maybe that's just like a little not right. But at least Sean's storyline, which I thought was I mean, it was kind of funny. I guess not, but I don't know.
I mean, we could start there. I
Okay.
mean, I feel like we kind of predicted this, or at least
Mhm.
saw it coming, where Sean and Meghan yet again get into another argument. And this one, I think, Sarah, was like my least favorite of all their
Mhm.
arguments. Like, I found it to be very not only immature, but also like really ridiculous, like a stupid thing to fight over. And maybe it's also that it's like around the holidays where I'm like, this is what you want to like be doing around the holidays, is like fighting with your significant other over something so freaking dumb. Like, okay.
IP, intellectual property, is not dumb. It's not. I mean, like, you should know that as, like, a content creator, that, like,
Mhm.
you coming up with an idea and it being your own is extremely important.
Yeah. Who do
I
you
would
believe? So in this episode, right, in case people
Yeah.
didn't rewatch it, we have Sean and Richard are gonna go buy a ton of Christmas trees, real Christmas trees, and
Mhm.
then resell them at like a marked up price. I suppose for people who are like late with buying a Christmas tree, I think that's their plan. And Sean does all of this, tells Meghan about it, and Meghan thinks that Meghan says, "Oh, that
Mhm.
was my idea. I told you." And he's like, "No, I've had it in like this idea journal for a while now." And
Yeah.
Meghan gets pissed off because Sean is not going to give her any cut of the profit
Or
that they
credit.
are
I think
making.
more so credit. I think that she wants the credit.
I think
Okay.
she wants both, because when he buys her that whip, she's just like, "Oh, great, you're cutting me in to like the tree thing."
Mhm.
And he's like, "No, no, I already have to give Richard 20% or whatever the heck."
Yeah. So, who do I believe? That's the question.
Yeah. Who do
I
you think had this
Okay.
idea first?
Okay, this has been my plight for like probably my whole entire life, where I
Mhm.
come up with something, I say it, people don't really like acknowledge it because whatever, they think I'm stupid as fuck. And then somebody down the line reiterates my back idea, my good idea back to me, and I say, I fucking said that. That was my idea. This has happened to me countless times
Can we
since I
get
was
an
a child.
example? Is this like an invention? Like, or is this just like what
All of
I
the
mean?
above, all of the
Okay.
above, all of the above, honestly. There's one time in college where I said an idea and to my professor, and they were like, "That's like a terrible idea. Like this wouldn't happen in like the design worlds, like blah blah blah."
Mhm.
Then the like golden child of the interior design department presents her presentation at the end of the semester, and it was my fucking idea, and the professor was like, "Innovative." Brilliant.
Why and did you say anything? Were you
To
like,
my
"That's my
friends
idea."
to my friends, but I was like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck?" So there's that. How
Mm.
many times, Jessica, have you and I been in a situation where I, like, spit out a theory and then you recite it back to me months later?
Oh, yeah, well, that's my memory being shitty. Yeah, for sure. When you say, "I said that," I'm always like, "Oh, I'm sure you did, and I've just
My
forgotten."
my husband does it to me. Everybody has done it to me.
Everybody's trying to take credit
Yeah.
for your
Yeah,
brilliance. It's
yeah,
not
I
right,
mean,
not right at
so
all.
I fully believe Megan because I've lived this, and it is so annoying when you have a good idea and you say
Mhm.
it and nobody really acknowledges it or like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool," and then they come back to you later and recites it as if it was their brilliant
Mhm.
idea. It drives me absolutely bonkers.
I
Um,
I fully am with you that I too believe Meghan. Because I think if Sean really did have this written down in some like journal somewhere, whip it out, man.
hmm.
Like, where's the
No, he
proof?
said it got stolen/lost.
Sure, Jan.
That's what he
Like,
said,
I'm
he said that.
sure it no, I'm not saying to you, I'm saying to
Yeah.
him, like, sure it did. But I think regardless of who had the idea first, I think Meghan wanting to be cut into this whole deal is like, whatever. Like, if I'm Sean, I'll give her a little bit of money just to like cut the argument away, like get the done with the argument already.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like where we and we need to talk about Sean's gift to Meghan being like a whip. Like, what? what is going
Oh,
on?
it's a little sexy. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And he gives it to her in like an Epstein bar, like very much a public place. Like,
Hey,
here you go.
yeah, talking about that's their kink.
Yeah.
Let them go off like that. I still think that, I mean, maybe this is just me projecting my feelings off of it. Like, as long as you acknowledge that it was my idea, or like, whatever, like, I don't like, she doesn't need the money. Like, I mean, and he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna spend this money on you for Hanukkah gifts, Christmas gifts anyway. Like, it's
Mhm.
basically yours. So like, I just feel as though, I mean, it was a stupid fight, like talking about like how compared to their other fights, where a lot of the times I feel like it was very relatable and um realistic to have some of these arguments or like communication issues. Like, this was pretty stupid. I could chalk it up to the holidays as a stressful time of year. Like, everybody's a little bit crabby if they're not being jolly. I do think that this is like, I think they get off on the arguments. And I think that there are couples out there that do that. Like, more power to you. Not my bag, baby, but if you want to do that, then that's like fine. So if I had to guess, I just like feel, I also think that they're very stubborn. Like, the two of them are just like very stubborn, and then they're very prone to these arguments because they both think that they're right, or they don't want to show a vulnerable side where they can show that they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just disappointing because it is so petty and silly, and not
Mhm.
petty and silly in like a fun way. You know, if it was
Yeah.
petty and silly in a fun way, I would be here for it, but Emily, friend of the pod Emily, also pointed out that like yeah, the writers are probably just a little lost with what to do with them because what are we going to do now? We've set it up that they like to fight a lot and we don't want them to break up, and now they're together. So what is their story? Oh, well, their story is they're fighting. And I think the thing that really set me off was Meghan takes this a bit too far, in my opinion. I
Mhm.
think calling the fire department on
Yeah.
Sean for having all those Christmas trees in his apartment, while it is a fire hazard, don't get me wrong, that was like one step too far. Like, because not only you're basically saying like, okay, fine, if I can't make a single, like a little bit of a cut out of this, then I'm going to ruin the entire operation. And
Yeah.
it has like bigger implications because Ben is also involved in all of this like tree nonsense in terms of moving all the trees and getting all the trees downstairs and getting all the trees upstairs. And like, you're taking time away from him spending time with Felicity and her mom with this dumb tree thing. And now it's all for nothing if all the trees get removed, if all the trees just get
Yeah.
taken away.
Yeah.
So I was really annoyed with Meghan in that moment because I was like,
Yeah.
this is like a bridge too far.
It
Like,
was
you can be
petty.
pissed off, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It
like
was
you're
so
just
petty.
it's you're making it like fanning the flames of this argument instead of looking for a resolution.
Yeah.
And I was really irritated with her. I'm happy
Yeah.
that again we get kind of like this is just like a one episode argument because by the end of the episode we have them back in each other's arms, happy to see each other after Sean decides. I thought this was very sweet of him. He decides to give away the trees once there's like
Yes.
it is a father son or something where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this
Yeah.
tree is so beautiful, oh, we can't afford it, and Sean decides to give away the trees. Now obviously not great for profit, but like really great in terms of like Christmas story sort of vibes
Yeah.
of what a nice generous move by him.
Yeah, it was very sweet, and I think that once Megan saw that, like, this business, plan of his failed, he was her little, like, Grinch heart softened, and she was able
Mhm.
to forgive him in this moment and be like, "I love you, please be my date to the party." Um, it was sweet that he wound up giving away the trees, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, it's kind of like a failed idea. He was selling these trees on Christmas Eve. It's not like it's not a great idea.
Who's getting a tree on Christmas Eve? Like, is anybody out there gonna be like, I feel like at that point, if I don't have a tree by Christmas Eve, I'm not getting one.
I think
Like,
it's like the single dads. Like, I think like they tapped into
mm,
like the right market. Like, I think that I don't know where did they put up the trees next to Epstein Bar, because that's actually like a very smart place to go. Like, let's get the dads that are like hanging out on like Christmas Eve at the bar. That's like they have to pick up their kids in 12 hours,
Yeah.
and they're like a bunch of sad sacks. Like, oh, let's target those men, right? I think it's those guys, because let's be real. Like, can you without a woman telling their significant other to, like, there is no husband or ex-husband or man that's putting up the tree on their own. I feel like it's always like, hey darling, like, can you like get down the tree for us so that we could put it up? Like, is
Mhm.
your husband an active participant in like jump starting the tree getting?
Actually, yeah. I'd say he is more, and maybe he's the outlier. I mean, I think it depends on from year to year, but he definitely was the one, at least this year, that was like, we should put up the tree tonight. Like, let's put up the tree
Mhm.
tonight.
Okay.
But I think it depends. Like, I can be, depending on the year, a little bit more grumpy about it, and like,
Mhm.
there's reasons why, but now he is someone who's very into it, but I know what you mean, and I could see it being the opposite in a lot of other relationships, at least heterosexual ones, where it's, the guy is like, ugh, okay, grumble, grumble,
I'm
whatever,
always
fine.
the one that's like initiating the tree
Mm-hmm.
putting up
Yeah.
ish. Or like even I think Adam was like, "Do you want to put up the tree?" But then it was still like me who was doing it. So
Yeah. No, Will is very much an active participant in all things Christmas related.
yeah, he's a
But
Christmas
were
spirit.
you surprised when you heard that Meghan likes to go to Radio City at Christmas time?
No, because I feel like Megan has this like little secret like side of her that likes things that are more traditional. So it was
Mhm.
cute. Have you ever been to like the Radio City Rockettes show?
No.
No? Why?
Mm-mm.
You hate dancers?
I really am not a big fan of like going into the city around the holidays because
Oh,
it is one of the biggest madhouse experiences, and I already am not a
mhm.
huge fan of going to the city. So
Yeah.
that feels nightmarish for me.
Mhm. Okay. Well, number 1, they have a really brilliant tour, like architectural and interior design tour, because there's so much beautiful like art deco. Um, it's like the architecture is like art dec from the art deco era. It's beautiful. So, and
Mhm.
then you can go to the back. I think you can meet like a rock cat. So, and I think like for me personally, that was probably more exciting than the show itself. But I mean, like I feel like everybody should experience it once.
Yeah.
Um, so I forget this aspect of like, did she wind up going with Sean or she
She
want
asked him like, "Oh, I have a question for you, and if you tell anybody, like, I'll kill you,
okay.
but do you have any interest in going?" And
Mhm.
then he says, "Oh, sorry, like, I'm busy with the trees," and then they
Oh,
get in the argument
okay, so
because
that's why, because like she wants to spend time
well,
with him.
no,
No?
no, because the wording is like, "Oh, you are doing the trees," and he's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Are you gonna cut me in?" And
Oh,
he says, "No," and she says, "It's my idea, you're greedy, get out of here," on
yeah.
and on and on.
Yeah, once again,
Yeah.
IP and like let's not have a freaking storyline where the Jew is being called money greedy. That's rude.
Yeah.
That is absolutely revolting
Yeah.
and
Um,
and stereotypical.
so that's the Sean and Megan storyline.
Yeah.
Where do you want to bop to next? We got
What deal with Tracy?
yeah, let's get that out of the way here. So I think we can now confirm that your reading, your interpretation of Tracy's
Mhm.
face at the end of the last
Yeah.
episode after he had sex with Lena was correct, in that it is not that he has already had sex and he's feeling guilty. It is that he is feeling very guilty about that he did have premarital sex.
Yes, yeah. And we get to hear from him a little bit about basically how he's dealing with it. So he went right to his pastor and basically like he's like forgiven essentially because I mean
That's what it's all about.
that God and Jesus is very forgiving. We are sinners, right? That is,
Mhm.
rule number one. But the pastor kind of encourages or introduces him to missionary work, which I think makes a lot of sense for Tracy, quite honestly. I think that when you're in your young 20 somethings going on missionary trips, I think on like a multiple of like reasons. Number one, like
Mhm.
you're young, like when you're young, it's a really good time to travel and experience these things. You have the energy to like build homes and schools. I think
Mhm.
that it's a really good way to like meet people, to get connected to your faith. I think that's like really great to do charity. I actually think that like encouraging him to do missionary work is really, really good. Quite honestly. Also, there's the aspect of like introducing your religion to other cultures, which is like probably less exciting to me than like doing good within the community, but like whatever.
Mhm.
So I think that that was actually, and then like that's also a way for him to like do good. He feels guilty. I think that it makes a lot of sense for him to look into missionary work. The only issue is that like it's next semester he would go off, like leave school and do the missionary work, or is it in the summer? I forget.
Well, he had said it was just a few weeks from then. So I assume it was the next semester because we're at Christmas.
A few weeks.
Yeah, he had said a few weeks and it seems like he's going to be going on this trip.
Mhm.
I will say Elena has not been my favorite character this season. I feel like she's been making some pretty poor decisions. However, I really appreciated when like the conversation that she had with Tracy's pastor,
Mhm.
where, she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Like, forgiveness is the first step and blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
And Elena says, "I don't feel like I've sinned. Like, I love Tracy, and that's why I'm here because I want our relationship to work through this." And I feel like this pastor was like very shameful about the whole thing, where she says premarital sex is lust, not love. To which I would say, that's not necessarily true. And that's not really fair. Like, who are you to say who loves who? Like, it can be, sure, but
Mhm.
they love each other. And I feel like you saying that is really just dismissive of their relationship. And I really loved, because I think Elena's in a very difficult position here. She
Yeah.
is in the room with Tracy and this pastor who he has spoken like so highly
Very
of.
highly of,
Yeah,
yeah.
he really respects her. And I think Elena has a tough job because she is trying to tread very carefully and not dismiss his religion, not dismiss his beliefs, and not insult this pastor who he really likes. And I thought she did a really excellent job. She says, "With all deference to the church, the Bible won't tell me what's in my heart." Like, that's so
Mhm.
fair. That's
Yeah.
very fair to say.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
and this pastor is basically like, "Well, you're at a crossroads. Like, what are you going to do?" And I don't know. This was so interesting that this isn't exactly what I thought would happen, Sarah. Like, I think we kind of thought Tracy and Elena would eventually have sex. But like Tracy goes right back to the church to try to like explore how he's feeling about all of that. I feel like this is the turning point, the crossroads where he's going to go do missionary work, and I think
Mhm.
that might end up being the end of Tracy
Yeah.
like on the show, or end of their relationship at the very least, because how do you work past this? I think they just have two very different sets of beliefs. And I think if him having sex and like breaking that vow to God, or however you want to phrase it, I think with him being so distraught about it, to me, if he had had a different reaction, maybe I could see their relationship continuing. I just think they're too different in their beliefs at this moment, at
Yeah.
this age, in that time in their
Yeah.
life, you know?
No, I agree. Like, I think that that's been our sentiment for a while now. And I think that like they really tried to make it work, but at the end of the day, like they just like neither one can be together and like feel good about the compromises that they're making, right? Because Tracy can continue to be with Elena and like having sex is like could be something that they're going to be doing, but he doesn't feel good about it. And then, or like they could be together and they decide not to have sex um, like make Tracy feel confident and good about the relationship. But then Elena's not fulfilled. So
Right.
they're just not able to meet in the middle, which is sad. But like, as Lana Del Rey said, sometimes love is not enough and the road gets tough. So that's what it is. Love is not enough. And I hope that Tracy looks back on him losing his virginity in like 10 years and doesn't feel regret, because I do think the pastor was wrong. Like, I do think that there was a lot of lust in it, but I do think that they loved each other. And I think that it's not like Tracy lost it like Felicity to some rando on like a random Wednesday night. Like, it was somebody that he really cared for, somebody that he felt very inspired by, somebody that he thinks the world of. So I hope that in time, like, he can forgive like himself, number one, but also like look back on it fondly, because like he did love Elena. Maybe she's not his wife, but he did love her in some sort of capacity, and at the very least he cared for her deeply. And I think that they like could have in another universe really worked out very well. So I just hope that like in the future he doesn't have regret, because I don't think it was something that he should be ashamed of. I think that Elena was a good choice to
for his first. I do think like it could have been far worse. Like you said, they certainly didn't enter into it with like this. I mean, obviously maybe in the moment that lust was what started the whole moment of them having sex, but that's because they love each other and they wanted to do it. So I think like obviously could have been much worse. Hopefully he finds a way to kind of work through his feelings on all of that, but it's not looking good for.
Yeah, and I can see a
Tracy and
reality
Elena.
where he goes on the missionary work, finds somebody that is a lot more aligned in his views. They fall in love, and then like he, I think he's gonna be happy. And at the very least, I know that he'll find Carla eventually and become a very good surgeon and find a best friend in JD. And at the very least, like he'll find love there.
Yes. Okay, let's talk through this whole we kind of have to group these people together because it's all kind of intermingled here, right? Where we have Felicity's mom who's visiting. Now she's supposed to be spending time with Felicity and also by proxy Ben.
Sure.
But let's talk through this Noel stuff first, because Felicity's mom is like, screw Noel. He's not going anywhere in life. He doesn't have any drive or passion for anything. Yeah, it's for Ben. Yeah. But Noel, he's the turtle. He is the best. He has plans. You guys work well together. She loves Noel. This to me, Sarah, is so unsurprising.
Yeah, Noel is very like good on paper for parents, right?
Exactly.
Like it seems as though that this is a family trait, which I kind of love that like little insight. He was like, yeah, like parents love cranes. Like they like cranes are good. Like he comes from like a respectable family. Like they all seem to have some sort of direction. They're good looking. They're charismatic. So it's like parents love cranes and they love Noel. And I think that like I feel like I also have said that like I'm pretty good with parents. Like I haven't met like a set of parents from a significant other where I can't like win them over. I've never had to like deal with that. And I think that that's a talent. Like I really do. Like I think that that's like a good talent to have. And basically, I mean, but the thing is that like she doesn't see all the fucking like crusty ass skeletons in Noel's closets.
He stalked the woman, and I feel like the biggest thing that no one is bringing up this episode that gets brought up one time, but not to Felicity's mom, is he's still fucking married.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
his wife is off in Germany or something. She gets a mention this episode, but it's like, Ben, like, what is happening then? Like, what is actually going on with you two then? Because, like,
Yeah.
get an annulment, get a
Well,
divorce, do
the
whatever.
issue is that like he can't get in contact with her because she's still in Germany and now she has like a boyfriend, and like he can't get her to focus to come back to like get a divorce or an annulment. It's
Ridiculous.
interesting because like on surface, Noel is a great choice and like somebody that Mrs. Porter thinks is like a great option for Felicity, but like underneath the surface, he has all this baggage and skeletons and like all this shit. And I feel like Ben is the opposite. Like, I think that on a surface level, Ben might not be the best choice. Like, he's a little rough around the edges. His family comes from a broken family. He seemingly has no direction. But if you like take off the little like gross filmy surface, he's a great guy and we really get to see him shine. Like talking about like charisma, like the way that he's able to kind of like go to Felicity's mom, which is such like a fucking ballsy choice to do, and so much respect, and be like, look, I might not look like the best option, but like I am like actively working on myself and like working to be a better person. So I could be worthy in your eyes eventually of being your daughter's partner, which like it was just like such like a ballsy thing to say and do. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that like it seems as though be I mean, like the whole thing is like really stupid because Mrs. Porter jumps to a shit ton of conclusions because like she hears like AA, she hears
There's a
gun,
guy with a
she hears
gun. She hears
fights,
fights. Yeah.
rehab, and judges without hearing the full picture. Like,
Yeah.
I think that if she just let him speak for himself and is like, well, I'm involved in this situation because I myself wanted to get help for my relationship with my dad, which I think is really, really good of him for him to keep going to Al Anon. Met a girl, and like I'm actively trying to protect her, even though he really shouldn't because she's the worst person in the galaxy. But like he's really, really trying with her. Like he's trying to protect her from this like gun that's been like bopping around. And then in terms of like rehab, like he's facilitating like bringing her to rehab. He does get into fights a lot, that is true, and he needs to fix that because he is very quick to anger at times, which is not great, and he definitely inserts himself into situations that he shouldn't. And then in regards to like what his direction in life, it's like okay, number one, I would love to see the statistics on people that graduate with a degree and actually go into their chosen fields. Like, I would love to see that because even if Ben chooses a major and graduates with a degree, the likelihood that he like can be successful in that, like people just don't do it. Like, it's just people just don't. I can pretty much like list like 20 people that I know and their degrees, and I would guarantee you then less than half of those people are still in their chosen field.
Yeah. I mean, as one of those people, I would say you're absolutely right. And I think the problem is obviously this is the 90s. It's a very different time, Sarah. Even in like the aughts when we were kind of hitting that point of thinking about college and stuff, it was hammered home to us about how important college is. You can't get a job without a degree. Push, 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 push. I think now seeing most people in their 30s still having student loan debt, I think the world is shifting that mindset a little bit at a time. But the 90s was almost the height of that kind of feeling, that sentiment of you need a degree to get a job anywhere. And if you don't have your major figured out, you're a bum, you're useless, like you're not going to do anything. And I don't think all of Felicity's mom's concerns are unfounded. Like if I had a daughter and she was dating someone and now I'm hearing that there are guns, there's like potential like like, first of all, the gun wasn't Ben's fault.
It's
Like,
not
I don't know why she's, like, associating that with him. But,
I
like,
know.
that's unfair. That is unfair of her to put that on him. That has nothing to do with him. In fact, he's the one trying to, like, right that wrong. However, like, sure, I understand her concerns with Ben getting into fights. Like, that's concerning,
That's valid.
especially knowing more than one fight he's gotten into. That's really concerning. I think her biggest concern, and it's, I think, fair from her perspective, right? We have to remember that, like, okay, her husband is this, like, big wig doctor.
Mhm.
Felicity originally was supposed to be a doctor. They put a lot of stock in academia.
Right,
And
right,
I
right,
think
right.
to find out that Felicity's boyfriend has no idea what he wants to do with his life and is, like, almost a senior, I think that's a little bit jarring for her when she knows how driven Felicity is. And yes, maybe now Felicity wants to be an artist, not a doctor, but she's still driven to do the thing she wants to do. She still has an idea of what she wants to do and is actively pursuing it and seems to always be going, like, above and beyond for her goals. And I think because of that, she sees Ben as, like, dragging her down. She even says she associates Ben with, like, this guy that she was interested in, right? This, like,
Yeah.
guy that basically looks great, but there's nothing going on underneath the surface. And I'm saying, like, that's what it seems like she thinks of Ben. But I love that Ben stood up for not only himself, but stood up for Felicity's choice of picking him.
Mhm.
And I think he was really valid in saying that, like, this teacher once said a thing to me that all the interesting people she knew had no idea what they were going to do with their lives when they were 20. And that is so fair. That is
Yeah.
so fair. And he even says to her, like, she cares about me. I don't know why, but she does. And on a good day, I maybe can see everything she sees in me. And she means the absolute world to me. Like, that I thought was, like, so I felt like it was so impactful for him to say that, specifically because he says it here, and I think we just know this about Ben in general. He's not much of a talker, he's especially not about his feelings. And so for him to be as bold as he's being and be willing to have this one-on-one conversation with his girlfriend's mom, who very obviously doesn't like him, has been putting him down, like, at a dinner with Noel and Felicity,
Oh,
like,
that was
is
so
working
rough. Yeah.
against him. Like, that's a lot of courage that it takes someone to do. And it's very obvious that he cares about Felicity, because if he didn't, why would he be putting himself through all of this for
Yeah.
her?
Yeah.
So I feel like, and I liked that Felicity's mom did come around on Ben in the end. Like, I'm not saying there aren't red flags with Ben. Of course there are. But at the
Yeah.
same point in time, I feel like Felicity's mom is really compromising her own relationship with Felicity. If Felicity's a different person, she is saying, how dare you try to, like, want me to be with Noel, one of my exes, when I am with this, like, really great man right now and you don't
Yeah.
see that. I think it could, if Felicity's a different person, it could really backfire on her mom.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Sarah, like, the way I've read this, it's very interesting. Obviously, everyone's relationship with their parents are very different, the levels of closeness, and in terms of if you discuss your relationship with your parent, and not everyone does.
Mhm.
Um, but it was really funny when I was 21, so around this age that these characters are, and I got engaged to my first boyfriend. We'd been
Mhm.
together 5-ish years, and he proposed. I wasn't expecting it. I said yes because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And I remember after we broke up, my mom had said, "We were surprised that we didn't even know if you would say yes. Like, we were surprised
Mhm.
that you did say yes." And I said, "Well, why didn't you say anything,
Yeah.
in that moment? Like, why didn't you say anything about, like, him or that sort of thing?" And she said, "We didn't want to interfere. Like, if you thought he was good enough for you, then that's good enough for us. But, like, nothing against him, my boyfriend back in the day, they didn't think he had a ton of drive." Again, kind of similar to, like, this
Mhm.
Ben
Yeah.
situation where,
It
like,
sounds like
where is
it.
he going with his life? But again, I think they took a very different approach than Felicity's mom, where it was, I'm going to stay out of this and let my kid kind of figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Sarah, I just feel like this really could have backfired on Felicity's mom. And she's very lucky that Felicity is, like, pretty mature and level headed.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Like, I don't think that Felicity is, like, very, like, prone to blow ups. Like, I think that as a parent, you have to toe the line between trying to protect your child, but then also knowing that the mistakes or the choices that they make are their own. Like I think that your parents' approach is definitely was the right one. Like I think that you do more harm than good than like putting up these arguments, because the thing is that you had to continue this like line of trust. And I think like as like a parent or even as a friend, like you can kind of see like what relationships could potentially fail and which you feel like confident about. And it's your job as a friend or a family member to first and foremost just be there and keep the communication lines open for these people, because I honestly feel like nobody, unless like a person comes to a decision on their own, nobody is stopping any relationships. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think that everybody has to come to the decision on their own. Like no
Yeah.
matter how much you share with like somebody you care about, that you don't think that their relationship is like good and sound, like people are not going to make any moves until they're ready. So it's your job
Yeah.
to just like be there as a support. But it was very insulting, that dinner where Felicity's mom like was like basically trying to suck Noel's like dick the entire time.
She, first of all, even inviting him to dinner is like
Was
kind of a
rude.
slap in the face.
Oh
But
yeah.
then on top of that, to be like, oh, yeah, because I mean, theoretically, Noel and Ben are good, like they're everyone's friends, on and on. But she's definitely doing it with ulterior motives. And again, this
Mhm.
could have really backfired on her, especially because she doesn't know everything going on with Noel. All she sees is what he is offering to her, which is
Mhm.
Felicity and I work so well together. We're working on this like art project, and she's your daughter. She's the best. She's so smart. And look at how dedicated I am. Oh, by the way, I'm a computer science major or whatever, graphic design major.
Yeah, he's also
Look
a
at,
year older than Ben, by the way, at
yeah.
least. So,
So he
yeah,
seems like he has more of a head on his shoulders. And like, I
yeah.
also think Felicity's mom's not really taking into account like the reason for his tardiness, right? It was because he's helping out a friend. And like,
He's
also,
literally making sure that she doesn't get shot down by
yeah, he's taking
crazy.
care of Molly. He's helping out Sean, who is kind of not blackmailing him, but really guilt tripping him of like, oh, you want to borrow that car to go to Florida? And oh, by the
Yeah,
way, there are times where you miss out on rent. I really need help. Like,
yeah.
Ben is really being put in a tough position here. And so I just wanted to give him the credit of like, especially Sarah, like imagine being a young 20 something and doing this. That seems even I, I would be nervous to do anything like what Ben is doing. And I'm in my 30s, let alone
Mhm.
having the like confidence and like being able
Yeah,
to get your point across, which I do think he did very well.
I think that
Um,
he did too. Like, I remember I was saying in earlier seasons that like, oh, like Noel is going to be a great boyfriend, he just needs to marinate. Like I think that like this is what I mean by that with like
yeah.
Ben. Like Ben has like a lot of potential, but 2 seasons ago we probably didn't see that, but he needed time to like work on himself and become like a more elevated version of himself. And like if we're
Yeah.
comparing, which we probably shouldn't, but if we're comparing, I think that Ben is doing more work on himself to become like a great partner in person, more so than Noel, because I
Noel
don't
doesn't
see.
see the flaws that he has. Like,
No, no,
you
and I
know,
don't see Noel like actively working on himself and trying to become like a better like person and partner. Like I
no,
just
he's
see him
jumping
kind of,
from one thing to the next.
yeah, frantic. Like I just see him doing the same like making the same mistakes that he's made dozens of times. Probably because like he's used to everybody being like, you're like a perfect sunshine child, right? Like
Yup.
I think it's like
Yeah.
people like Ben that like have been challenged in their lives where they're like, hey, I need to like better myself. And I don't know, like I think that I just everybody just needs to be a little bit more open-minded, I believe. Like, I think
Yeah.
that that's like she saw the headlines that what Ben's up to and like didn't get curious enough until Ben came to her, Mrs. Porter, that is, and was able to kind of see below the surface of like, why is he involved in rehab? Like, why is there a gun? Like,
Who's this girl Molly? Like, why is he always around her? Which, I mean, is concerning.
I mean, like, honestly, I would be like, hey, Felicity, why do you have this fucking crackhead living with you? How about we ask those questions?
Yeah, that should be more of your concern is Molly. But yeah, speaking of Mrs. Porter, she is now going to be Ms. Hunter. She has changed her
Oh,
name
she
back to
changed
her
it.
maiden name.
Oh, that is a
Um,
process. I'm on step like 90,000 of changing my name of
horrible.
1,010,000. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now I
it's
got my
terrible.
license. I
Oh,
got
exciting.
well, no, I don't have my license, but like I went to the DMV and I like figured out the license stuff and I'm like
Mhm.
waiting for my license to come in the mail. And I went to the bank. I have to put in my passport. It's like such a process. So yeah, I mean that would probably be very jarring if your parent changed their
Yeah,
name back.
especially because, and this is again, we are living in 2024, almost 2025. We are in a different world as far as you don't need to have the same name to be like family. There's found family, there's like what is it called? Blended families. Like, anyone can have any name. But I think this is very difficult for Felicity because she no longer is going to have the same last name as her mom. And I
Mhm.
think all of this kind of hits her simultaneously where she's like, "Oh, mom, you didn't realize, like, I already sent you a letter," which is weird. Like, just call her girl, whatever. She's not Sally. I'm going to Florida with Ben. And so she was worried that her mom was going to be home alone on her first Christmas post divorce. And Felicity was trying to be a good daughter and is like, I will go home with my mom instead. I thought that was incredibly selfless, especially given what her mom's been up to this episode, to like offer to go and be with her mom on the holiday so that her mom wouldn't feel bad instead of doing what she wants to do, which is go to Florida with Ben. I feel like we've really hit our stride, Sarah, and I've never loved Felicity more than I have like in season 3. I just feel like
Mm.
she is being so incredibly selfless and generous to everyone around her.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like I felt more strongly towards Felicity last season, in terms of like being proud of her and her growth. But I mean, yeah, like she's definitely, I think that her mom said it really well. Like when we first dropped you off in New York, like you were wide-eyed and terrified. And like I'm really proud of the woman that you've become because
Mhm.
she has grown a lot in the last 2 years. Um, so I definitely can see that. And
Yeah.
her family can too. And I
Yeah.
like that her mom, like of course it's probably going to be a hard Christmas for her mom regardless, but like I'm glad that especially after the talk with Ben that she was able to be like, you know what? No, like, we'll have a lifetime of years to spend Christmases together. Um,
Yeah.
go have fun.
Yeah, I did like that move as well. That was a great move by her to, and the other thing she did give us is again kind of this like reigniting of the love triangle because she tells Felicity, Noel is very obviously in love with you. Like, open your eyes. And Felicity approaches Noel at this Christmas party, which we're gonna have to talk about because shit happens. Um, and she asks him like, "Oh, are you the turtle?" And basically what they're talking about is in the loser pet store, the turtle is kind of like this loser, and there's
Mhm.
another character. Is it a parrot or a cat or
Yeah,
something?
I think the parrot, I don't know.
Yes, that's right. Are you the turtle? And he says yes. And she asks, okay, who's the parrot? Because the turtle's in love with the parrot. And Noel lies to her and he says, "Oh, it's Ruby. I'm not over her, like, But we see him watching her walk away. He
Mhm.
is still in love, or he is in love, whatever, with
Mhm.
Felicity. How long until either Noel confesses his feelings or something happens with that?
Season finale.
Wow. Okay. So that's quite a ways away well, maybe
Is
not.
it? I
Not really.
mean,
This is a shorter season. I
yeah,
forgot.
that's 6 episodes away.
No, we're getting close. Yeah, I'm gonna say sooner than that, simply because I think the Molly shit is hitting the fan sooner, and I think that we're gonna have some sort of Ben Molly situation that is then going to cause Felicity to jump into Noel's arms. So I think it'll be sooner than that. I think it's give it like 3 episodes max. So back to the party. Let's discuss this whole Molly situation. Apparently, after last episode where she just walked away with James, no, she changed her mind. She broke up with James. She's back in the apartment. She's back in
Yeah.
rehab. They're trying to keep James away from Molly, lying to him, saying she doesn't live there anymore. Ben is really, again, going above and beyond to be like,
Mhm.
James, she's not here. Stop calling.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Like,
Yeah.
telling him off, protecting Molly, walking her home from places because she's scared. Again, if I'm looking at this like, let's pretend we don't think that Molly and Ben are going to have something coming up. This is
Yeah.
extremely kind of Ben to be doing this. Like, this is above and beyond.
Of course, but also it's all for naught because the second that like they hang up and are not in the apartment, she literally calls him back.
It's really bad, and of course he has like
Oh
caller
my
ID,
gosh.
so he sees the number, he calls back, she answers, so he gets confirmation that she's living there. And this motherfucker shows up at the Christmas party with a gun, and
Yeah.
we see him shoot it, and we leave off on a cliffhanger, Sarah.
Yeah.
Chekhov's gun, James's big giant piece or whatever the heck.
Stop it. Yeah. Okay.
It's here. Someone's about to get shot.
Yeah.
I think previously when we had made guesses, I think I wanted it to be Molly.
Yeah. You
But
said
like,
that. Yeah. I said Ben.
And I think you might be right. I think we could be
Mhm.
seeing Ben get shot at this party because
Yeah.
he's really the one like
That
interfering in a way to like keeping James away.
I think that was probably James's target. The only thing, and also like I was just waiting all freaking episode for Ben to get shot. Like there were so many situations like when Felicity came to the tree place with Sean and was like, "Hey, like where is Ben?" And they're like, "Oh, he like went off and did something." I was like, "Oh, this is when Ben's going to get shot." Like I was so convinced that like it was going to happen throughout. The only thing that's like making me hesitate is that it was Noel who was dancing with Molly.
Yeah, I thought that was weird because we did kind of, it wasn't just that they were dancing together. We see Noel ask Molly to dance.
Yeah, but he was just being nice. But then again, like James is so erratic that he probably comes and sees like his girl dancing with somebody and is like, "That's my girl."
And I
You.
assume he wasn't sober when this is happening either. So like, who
Uh-huh.
knows how his aim even is? You know what I mean? Like, who knows if he
Sure.
ever even shot a gun? Like,
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, it's he could have imperfect aim as well. So like, whoever his
Sure.
intended target might be, he might not even be hitting them.
Sure. So I'm very curious about, I mean, I in my opinion, I think that unless like it shot off and his aim is terrible and it like hits Tracy or something bonkers like that, like I think it's probably still Ben, or I don't know. I don't really see Noel getting shot, but we'll
It could
see.
be Noel, and then
Or
like
does he
Felicity is taking care of him, and then
Sure.
like I could see it being
Or does he
Noel.
shoot Molly? Like he's aiming towards Noel, but he shoots
Listen,
Molly.
I would love that because I'm really sick of the Molly stuff.
Yeah. I have a question. Do you want to do something
Yes.
crazy?
Yes.
Do you want to like play the episode, the beginning right now, and just
And see?
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Not?
Why not? Why not? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. All right, but we need to give a spoiler warning. Should we do it at the end of the podcast in case people haven't watched it yet? Then they're going to be spoiled.
No,
by
no,
us.
they'll just skip ahead. Just skip ahead.
Okay.
It's
Skip
fine.
ahead. I'm gonna put in the show notes where you can skip ahead to. So
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
scroll down and
Yeah.
click.
Who shot? Who shot? Who shot?
Okay, let me pull this up, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna share
Yeah.
my screen here.
Yeah, we don't own any part of this Felicity episode. We are just here for entertainment.
Okay,
Okay,
here we
skip
go.
it. Skip.
Okay, the episode is called Girl Fight.
Girl.
Yeah, previously on We Know.
Okay, go.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
This is the previously on, but we're about to get to it.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
I can't with also Molly's ridiculous, like, I don't even know what that was. A hat? A scarf?
Hat. Yeah, she's so ugly. Oh, everyone's having fun. Look at them.
Everyone's
They're so
having
happy.
fun.
And then James is
Boom.
there. Shot. Heard.
Oh no.
Chaos. Okay, so it's not.
Has anybody heard? It's not Sean. It's not Tracy. It's not
It's not
Felicity.
Felicity. This is so okay.
Molly?
She just looks shooken up.
She doesn't look shot.
We also don't have audio. Does she? I don't think she looks shot. Okay. Let's see. Felicity's running.
Oh no! No, someone's down! Someone's down!
It's fucking Ruby!
Some random blonde lady?
I think that's Ruby.
Who the hell? Would you say it's Ruby?
Is that Ruby?
That is not Ruby's not here.
Somebody's
Someone's
shot.
been
It's
shot.
not. No. Oh,
Elena's covering her arm. Elena got what's it called? What's it called when
it passed?
Yeah, like clipped.
Who
she got
is
clipped.
That's a blonde woman. That looks like Ruby. Ruby was not invited.
Someone else has been shot. Okay, so yeah, it's just Elena.
Okay, it's not.
And blonde lady and Ben, hero Ben,
yeah,
coming in. Save
of
the
course.
Day.
Okay,
well,
that's not Ruby.
That's nobody. That's literally nobody. We don't know her.
Boo.
This is some bullshit.
Man.
Okay. Well,
I really could not give a shit about this random blonde lady. That would have been fun if it was Ruby. It's like, oh, I'm back.
Back, bitches.
I'm back. Shot. I'm back and I'm shot. Okay.
Wow.
No. Okay.
Okay. Well,
no, that's not exciting.
Disappointing. Yeah, that's our episode though.
Okay.
And to all good night.
Yeah. Who is that?
Stupid. No one. It's just a blonde lady. Just rando. Elena got clipped at least, but
I guess.
All
right.
Anyway,
James, you're fucked.
James,
out of everybody, you shot a white blonde lady. You are stupid. You're going to jail forever.
You're going to jail forever.
You're going to jail forever. If she's Christian, then you're fucked.
You're definitely fucked.
Yeah. If she's Jewish, then maybe you just have like 15 years. But
Jesus Christ. Okay, let's get into some feedback here. Emily says, I'm officially on board with season 3 being the worst season so far. A cancer storyline, so much focus on Molly, and Chekhov's gun finally making its appearance here. Just ugh. Prediction on who got shot? Well, Emily. I'm going to guess Noel. He was dancing with Molly, and I can see this being a wake-up call for Felicity to reawaken, yes, any dormant feelings she may have for him. So that love triangle is officially back on the table. Emily, I was with you, girl. I was with you. But apparently some rando, blonde lady. And I loved Nick's comment of not the stupid gun. What is this, Degrassi? That killed me, honestly. If you've never seen, you haven't seen Degrassi, have you? Degrassi Next Gen.
No.
Jimmy got shot. You already knew this. Because of Drake. Anyway. Okay. Let's get into
wheelchair.
Yes, Jimmy in a wheelchair. Let's get into some other feedback. Let's hear what DBK has to say.
What up, though, ladies? And to all a good night. Oh, what an ending, eh, guys? So who got shot? Where we put our money down? And anybody from the cast got shot? I mean, they were all in a circle. James came in. I mean, who's getting shot? And then, so I love it. Are you mad that my mom made you admit that you have no plan or that you have no plan? Ouch, Ben.
It is true, though.
Just getting dunked on this whole episode, poor Ben. But I mean, Felicity loves him, so I guess it's good. Yeah, so I don't think this is a really good episode from Ben. I feel like he just looks like an idiot most of this episode. But he gives kind of a decent speech, I guess, at the end. But
decent, yes, it was great speech. DBK.
But I'm a Ben hater, so
Yeah, you are.
That's gonna happen.
Mm-mm.
The turtle line, he's such a loser. Like, it kills me a little bit. And then is Ruby the parrot?
No.
I
Oh,
don't
is
know.
Ruby the
Maybe
parrot?
not.
Yeah, no.
Is
No,
Noel
not even all of
lying
it.
there? Is he not lying? What do you think?
Yeah, of course he's lying.
Well, anyways, till next week, ladies. Oh yeah, and Tracy's off to Crossroads, Africa. Hopefully he'll be back next semester, ladies. Until
Why
next
not?
week, ladies. Peace.
I just keep thinking of when DBK said all is forgiven because Ben threw a dope surprise party. I
But
think
he
that
had a
is
good
the
speech this episode.
yeah. I just wish that Felicity was like, but wait, Mom, he throws a dope surprise party.
See, the problem is with these teen dramas is you really need to have a short memory because the show
Mhm.
does. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like all has to be forgiven so that you can move on, you know?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, DBK. Let's listen to what Temmie has to say.
Hi, ladies. I want to revisit your discussion about school and finishing a school year in the right way. I think, Sarah, last week you said that you sometimes would put all your efforts in at the end to get that grade average up. And I think Jess was more on the side of kind of working consistently. I think you're both in the right in this perspective, that in psychology they say that oftentimes people find the experience to be pleasurable if it ends well. So I guess
Hey.
for Sarah, you really subscribe to that. You want really the end to be the most important thing, but
Yeah.
Jess, you're there
That's
too.
true.
You're there in the same way, but you're having a more level experience. That's the way I
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah,
But in
I'm
this
always chasing
episode-
the orgasm. That's true.
I had to pause Temmie for a second because this is hilarious that like I appreciate consistency and Sarah is like, it's all about the climax, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that oftentimes kind of fucks me up though. You can't
Yeah,
chase the
yeah.
orgasm. You probably should enjoy the ride.
The
Is that
journey,
true,
yeah.
Jessica? Are you into foreplay more so than the actual act?
How is this? How is this how you're segueing?
I'm just asking a question.
It's none of your business.
I hate you.
Let's hear what Temmie has to say.
I love the general explanations that Felicity's mom is getting about Ben. It kind of gives us an outside perspective of what's been happening from somebody who hasn't been there. My questions this week are: have you ever talked behind someone's back and had them walk behind you as you were
Obviously.
Yeah.
you were
We're-
talking? This seems to happen a
Oh.
lot in TV shows, and it happened when Ben was talking about James, and Felicity's mom came in. And then, have you ever forgotten?
So have we ever talked behind someone's back and then they're like, yeah, and then it's like, oh, that person's standing right behind you? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, thankfully.
Yeah.
That would ruin me.
It'd be embarrassing.
Thing, or forgotten to do something that costs you or someone else? It seems like in the last 2 weeks, this has been a theme of episodes. Thanks. Bye.
Have we ever forgotten to do something that cost someone something? Probably nothing like terribly significant, I don't think.
Yeah. Maybe only at work. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Same. And then we also got an email from Jamie. So I've been hard on season 3, but I will actually say I liked this episode, probably because Molly and James weren't the lead storyline. I liked the storyline with Felicity's mother, and while I thought she had valid concerns about Ben, some of them came off a little snobby and judgmental, especially her concern about him not declaring a major yet. I mean, he's only like 21. I think it's okay to not know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's not like he and Felicity are engaged or expecting a baby. Most people
Yeah.
don't even end up working in their major anyways.
Yeah, that's why I
There you
said,
go.
yeah, agree.
I did love Ben's conversation with Felicity's mother. I totally swooned when he said Felicity pretty much meant the world to him. I'm glad we got an update on Noel's marriage to Natalie, although I'm still confused as to where they stand. I thought the ending with the shooting was a bit over the top for the show. I hope it doesn't sound too awful, but I'm hoping it was Molly who got shot.
We all do, but it wasn't.
Jamie,
it was
Jamie.
random blonde lady.
Poor Jamie. Yeah, unfortunately for all of us. And Jamie ends, happy holidays. We hope you had a good holiday, Jamie. Gosh. I don't even wanna, next episode, girl fight.
Girl fight. Do you see the little picture in the next episode?
Oh, like the thumbnail?
Yeah.
I have not
That
looked.
looks like Ruby to me, but I guess it's
That
not.
lady is not Ruby. She is off in Colorado raising her baby. Not Ruby. All right, Sarah, who was the winner this episode? Who we giving a point to?
Felicity? Ben?
I was thinking Ben, but I could be swayed to Felicity. What does Felicity do though?
Nothing.
She didn't do much. I think Ben probably deserves it more.
Okay. Yeah. DBK is just raging at us. He's just
You know
like,
what?
fuck.
This is Team Ben's season. I should swap out this glorious Free Pizza Fridays photo behind me for a hashtag Team Ben.
I would love that because you know what? Apparently, half the reason why we did this freaking tree thing was to raise more money for Free Pizza Fridays because people are getting too many toppings.
Too many fucking toppings. What's your pizza topping of choice, Sarah?
I like it plain.
That's so boring.
I do. I just like
You
it
just
plain.
like plain cheese?
Yeah. Or like I like a margarita pizza with like
margarita's
fresh
great.
tomato,
Fresh
and,
basil,
like,
good mops.
I like that, which is basically just plain.
It is, but it's like elevated plain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how about you? You like sausage?
Honestly, I take almost any pizza topping. I like a pepperoni. I like a supreme. I like a white broccoli pizza. Delicious. I'll try any kind of pizza. Buffalo chicken pizza is really good. Like, you got to go for your different moods, depending on what you're in the mood for.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anything else on this episode, Sarah? And to all, a good night.
No. I'm very excited to see all the backlash with James. He's going to jail because he shot the blonde lady. It's terrible for him.
So sad. All right. Well, next week we're back with season 3, episode 12, Girl Fight. We hope you checked out our toys coverage that we dropped on Christmas Day. Just a little bit of a festive podcast about a movie that really doesn't have Christmas that much in it. But at Shit90s Pod is where you can find us. Please send us in your feedback. We love to get it. Any 5-star reviews are also greatly appreciated. And come look at our beautiful faces on YouTube. And hey, subscribe while you're there. Be one of the many. We're almost to 100 subscribers, Sarah. It's like very exciting for us. So.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, we are currently, as of this recording, at 83 subscribers. So
very close.
Be one of the 17 that gets us there, is all I'm saying. Do
you like the number 17?
I like odd numbers, so I'm not against it.
I like odd numbers too.
Yeah, if you're gonna if someone ever asks you pick an odd or even, are you picking odd or even?
Mm-hmm. Usually odd.
I'm picking odd too. Even though my favorite number is 12, which is an even number. So
why?
I don't really know. It's kind of always been my favorite number for like a long time. I think I used to really like the number 10 too, because I feel like when I played baseball, I was always number 10. So I liked 10. But anyway. Okay. Well, that's all we've got for you. Go follow us everywhere, and we'll be back next week to talk about season 3, episode 12 of Felicity. Until then, everyone, goodbye.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.